Hey everyone, we are back, and we are back with the incredible Tim Rosolio from Expedia Group. How are you going, bud?
I'm a little tired, but I'm glad to be in the Gold Coast. It's my first time here.
We were at VRMA together a couple of days ago in Las Vegas. When did you get in?
2 hours ago. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
how's the jet lag?
I think the coffee opens at 3 o'clock, and then I'm going there at 3.
So, folks, we're going to be asking hard-hitting questions of Expedia for the next 20 minutes just to see how Tim holds up. No. We're going to ask one of the questions that I've been asking everyone. It's more about trends and what people are seeing going forward in the future. I'm really interested in your take because you've got a global perspective. You see the industry in a much different light to what most people would in their lives, which is amazing. So I really want to kind of get your thoughts as to what people should be thinking about for next year within their own businesses so they can be more successful.
Yep. I think the big thing that comes to mind is quality. Because I think really over the past 5 years, there's been a lot of supply that's come on the market, whether that's individual owners or perhaps property managers that don't quite know what they're doing, that don't necessarily deliver the goods and the standard that the traveler really wants. And that's like beyond, that's beyond just cleaning the house. It's also like making sure that you have the right software in place to make sure you never cancel. You're always accepting bookings. You're delivering a consistent experience. You are combining that technology with the right ground game that makes people feel like this is the right hospitality.
Yeah.
So I think that in a market where there's so much supply out there and a more discerning traveler, and I can tell you the OTAs recognizing these trends, it's more important that you deliver quality than ever before.
Yeah, I love it. Can you just elaborate a bit what you mean by increased supply? Is this a US thing, a European thing? Is this an Australian thing, a worldwide thing? And what does that look like on a kind of a bit more of a practical level?
I think increased supply, I think it's a trend that we're seeing everywhere, with people thinking that they can get rich in short-term rentals or they can own that second home that they perhaps didn't think they could ever afford, which is great. That's one of the exciting things about that category. If you can deliver the goods in terms of quality and hospitality. In particular, in America, we had the trend of sort of insatiable demand during the pandemic.
Sure.
Insatiable growth of supply shortly thereafter.
Yes.
And now we're in this weird spot of imbalance.
There's an oversupply.
So I would say that from a American perspective, we're right in the thick of this flight to quality.
Love it. And then when you talked about quality, one of the things that's kind of ringing in my ears is brand. And it's kind of a brand standard, right? So we make sure that we respond to our clients within X amount of time. We do it in a certain way. We clean our properties in a certain way. We use certain products in our property. And we bring everything together as to be consistent to deliver the same quality of experience. And to me, that really lends into brand itself as well. Do you think that's an important play when we're talking about quality, is having sort of alignment through what you're doing? Because different quality can be different for different niches, right? So you can have a budget brand, but still have quality within that brand.
Consistent. It doesn't need to be luxury.
Correct.
Consistent.
Because that's what I want to differentiate is what we're talking about. Because quality, people might be thinking luxury, right? But that's not what you're talking about.
I'm not. The majority of this business is not the X $1,000 a night villa on the beach. That's some of our business.
Sure.
But the majority of this industry is regular families that have one beach trip a year or one ski trip a year.
Yeah.
They're staying in a nice 2 to 3 bedroom home, and they just want the experience to be good and to have there be no gotchas.
Yeah.
And to want that consistent experience. So I think when I say quality, this is not about lux. This is about consistency.
Yeah, got it. Good. All right. Well, amazing. It's good to see you. I hope you have a good couple of days. I hope the jet lag evens out and you'll be all right. You'll figure it out.
Another day at the office, my friend.
That's right. And I'm sure I'll catch you on another episode soon.
For sure. Or maybe on another continent.
Yeah, indeed. Who knows where, eh?
Good to see you, Mark.
I heard something's happening in Indonesia.
Somebody did tell me something about that.
All right. Maybe I'll see you there.
It's like, good to see you, my friend.
Thank you. All right, everybody, we are back with the wonderful Alex Ormerod. How are you?
I'm well, Pat.
Good to see you.
Excited to be here.
We're day 2, here to stay conference. How's it been for you?
It's been really interesting. I've met lots of great people, reconnected with lots of fab people who, haven't seen for a little while, and engaged with some really interesting content.
What percentage of the room do you think you know? How many? Because there's 350 people. What do you reckon?
I reckon I'd know close to 50% by such.
Right? He's got to figure out how to get to know the other half, right?
Yes.
That's the exciting bit. Cool. Yeah, good event. We're coming towards the end of it, so a bit tired, but that's all good. What I'm doing is I'm running around and I'm grabbing people and I'm saying, hey, think about next year, because we're at the end of the year. If you're thinking about next year and what you might be looking at to maybe improve in your business, maybe some trends that might be happening, things that you guys are doing in your business or things that you're recommending to people look at, do you have any sort of like tips or thoughts about what people could think about for 2026?
Yeah, so for 2026, the key trends that we're focusing on are hyper-personalization at scale.
Yeah.
So looking at how you can harness AI and technology to create a truly personalized experience at scale without simply throwing people at a problem.
Yeah.
So that goes beyond, simply having a knowledge base about a product, but actually really harnessing your CRM information about the customer themselves to be able to suggestively upsell to them, to be able to anticipate their needs and make them feel like they're getting a personalised experience without having somebody physically needing to do so much of the grunt work.
It's one of those things that I see as a huge gap in the industry, in the short-term rental world. I think that hotels have been doing it for quite a long time, and particularly the ones with the big brands that have big, strong loyalty programs. They understand it. And when we look at vacation rentals or short-term rentals, we don't have a lot of businesses don't have the scale for it to really make that much difference. However, as any business owner will know, if you've got a great database, a great CRM, you can do so much with it, because it's not only about, you can look after the guests that are there, but also remarket to them, get in touch with them, birthday messages and all this sort of stuff. And it's kind of money for jam, right? They've already stayed with you. They already know you. The gap in this, though, I find, is the CRM system, that sort of, having that data. Do you have any sort of thoughts about what people should do or how to tackle it, or how you guys might be tackling it?
Yeah, I won't throw names of specific tools out there, because my experience with different CRMs is limited to those that we've used. Yeah. We're trying to build in as much of that customer data into the back of our own platform as possible, so that we can use AI to read the data that sits there. So it's not so much about, or it's not as much about saying, I know Bart and I know what his previous travel experiences are, so much as saying, I know Bart, I know what his interests and previous experiences are. How can I read the experiences that have been created for other people that have travelled with Luxico and use that information to create itineraries and upsells and experiences and add-ons that Bart might be interested in, without our concierge and guest services team having to do that again from scratch repetitively. Yeah,
that's really cool. And no one's mentioned this one. The one last question I've got about this particular idea is, it's kind of, I'd say, one of the linchpins of a business, right? We need a good brand, we need a good guest experience and all that kind of stuff. The one part of the question, though, is 2026. Like, well, why 2026? Is it because that's something that you guys have decided to look at 2026? Do you think that everyone should be looking at it right now? Is there any particular reason why this is an inflection point for that particular idea?
I think everybody should be looking at this right now, and 2026 is kind of earmarked because we're already seeing personalization really coming to the fore with that, with the fast acceleration of AI technology.
Yeah.
And, there are well-documented, there's a lot of well-documented research around travel trends now leaning towards unscalable experiences. So people wanting to do things that feel genuinely unique to them and not simply being replication of what they've seen hundreds of other people do on Instagram.
Yeah. And it's interesting because this all lands on data, right? Like, I think most of the conversation I've had is training data, get your data sorted. And if you've got your data, then you can do all those different things to create those experiences and everything like that. But the data capture is the number one most important thing.
It's the most important thing for any property management company, no matter whether they're managing 5 properties or 500. Everyone's collecting guest data and they're collecting property data. So it comes down to how good are your systems around managing that data so that, you have fast access to it without really having to look it up. And, you find your kind of post AI type technology already leaning into the property data.
Oh, yeah.
So this is, our view is how do we lean into the guest data more to bring those two things together?
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that was a long 30 seconds, but well worth it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'll speak to you soon.
Good to chat as always.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Hi, everyone. Here with Billy Crock, the infamous man himself from Hometime. How are you going?
I'm great, thanks, Bart. Happy to be here.
Good to see you. We're at the very start of ASTRA, here to stay, and I thought I'll get Billy onto the mic and ask him a quick question, which is, what should people be thinking about for 2026 in their short-term rental business? Are there any trends, tips, anything in particular that you think is going to be important, particularly for next year?
My one tip for next year is just to focus on quality and build a quality business, have quality inventory, quality service, and quality metrics around your business, which is retention and property performance. I just see it out there. It's like a more and more competitive market. Tools and technology are making everyone have more impact, being able to scale even like greater than they were before.
Yeah.
So then it just comes back to having a quality portfolio and a quality product.
Yeah, amazing. So we're talking about amenities, we're talking about guest experience, we're talking about product as well. Is there a reason why you've identified that particularly for next year? Because I mean, always you want to be focusing on quality, right?
I just think
what is that kind of inflection for 2026? Why is it more important now than it was before?
I think it's important every single year, and I just think that the way the landscape moves, we can squeeze so much more out of these portfolios using different technology tools and that kind of stuff. Homeowners and guests have more options and more options to choose from. And so the one thing you can't fake, which you can with a bit of technology and this and that, is just quality over the long term. So I'm just encouraging people to build quality businesses. AI and all that kind of stuff can be tempting to take some shortcuts and do this and that. You should use it, make your business more efficient. But over the long run, having quality homes with high guest review scores, and which translates to good revenues and that kind of stuff, it's just how you build a good business. That's full stop. So I'm going to remind people of that.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. I absolutely agree. I think it's absolutely critical. In my mind, I'm seeing like a mind map on a wall of what's quality actually mean within our business.
Lots of things.
We can then go and implement it within everything that we do. And there's so many different facets of quality. But I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much, mate.
No, that's all right. It's a bit of a cop-out answer, but it's the most important on my radar. So anyway, thanks, mate.
Thank
Cheers.
you so much. All right, everybody, we are back with the wonderful Kevin Liu from Trip.com. Welcome.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Brad, for having me on your show.
What I might do, Kevin, I might bring this a little bit closer to you.
Yep, thank you so much.
Kevin, how's the show been so far?
The show has been actually very productive for us. So this is the first year we have sponsored for ASTRA with my other staff from Sydney. And certainly it's a good way to showcase Trip.com to the industry.
It's really interesting because obviously I've stopped you to ask you about trends for next year, but I guess it would be remiss of me not to really talk about the fact that in Australia we've got 3 major OTAs. And Trip.com, for a lot of people, it's quite new and not really that heard of. Maybe I'm just not educated about it, but we haven't really seen you guys. Is that a fair?
Yeah. So from a Trip.com perspective, we have always been playing in the mainstream tourism booking side of things. So what that means is that we're massive in flights. As a matter of fact, intra-Asia, we are the biggest online travel agent when it comes to flights. And then hotel is where the most of the time we'll be spending at.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have experiences, car rentals, That's where we've always been playing at. So for short-term rentals, for me, that's always been, I'm passionate about the business.
Yeah.
But what's important is that the last about probably 8 to 9 months is where we really stepped up. So as you probably remember, during one of your conferences in April, which was Thrive, that was actually the very first conference that Trip.com have done anything in this part of the world.
Come over and visit us and see what's happening.
What the industry looks like, yes.
So, if I may, I'm going to label this a little bit because it's really interesting. So, obviously, we're talking about Asia being a major market or intra-Asia flights. I imagine the hotels are generally the easier one to tackle before going into the vacation rental or short-term rental space. And then there's different markets as well, right? So then, there's the US, there's Europe, there's APAC, there's all these things. Where does Trip.com sit in terms of the different territories? And are we kind of like the proving ground before you guys go elsewhere? Or is it you guys are huge, doing this already in the States, or is it all happening all at once and everyone's everywhere?
Yeah, no. So I'll take a step back in terms of the different segments we're looking at on our platform, right? So as we're talking about flights and hotels, etc. So all of these verticals have its own challenges. With flights, there's the policies, and then as well as your low-cost carriers, they all distribute very differently.
Right.
And then when it comes to hotels, there is so many integrations that we have to manage under the hood.
Sure.
Whether it be through Channel Manager or like a Marriott, they have their own systems. Yeah. So all of that requires to have different teams to try to get on top of it.
Yeah.
And being that one-stop shop, we're very busy. So as a matter of fact, Trip.com has about 30,000 employees around the world. The majority of them are based in China, who helps us with customer service to develop the amazing tools that we have as of today.
Yeah.
So then that goes to the question of, our presence, where we are. So Asia has always been the key dominant market for us, and for a good reason. Being established in China about 25 years ago, we have stepped out of the China market and then really got into the Asia market in really the last 10 or maybe 15 years.
Okay.
And then as we start to expand into Southeast Asia and also North Asia, we know that the market demand and the market requirement are very different.
Yes.
And so the cost of attention is incredible.
Yeah.
Because there are so many different users with so many different exposure points, as well as access points for them to be able to get to. So a lot of the time we think that, if I spend X amount of dollars and go direct myself, I should be able to get to a couple of millions of eyeballs because I put a post on Little Red Notes, which is a Chinese version of TikTok, if you will. Yeah. And then that's just your Southeast Asia market or North Asia market. But then as you start to sort of go a bit further, like Oceania, which is my market, then you really step into the long haul market. Right. So this is where we are right now, but we have expanded into the US 2 years ago, or maybe even three years ago, and then open up Europe as well as the Middle East, which is also some very exciting market for us.
Interesting. So we're one of the later markets. So those bigger markets went first in terms of...
No, so Oceania actually came first as the long haul market. So we've been here for about close to 8 years.
Yeah, okay.
And then the other markets, so we were the first long haul, and then the other markets like Middle East, Europe, and also US. It's only a very recent thing, so probably no more than 5 years.
Yeah. Wow, fascinating. That's fascinating, especially because I guess from my perspective, like I said, Trip.com is an unknown entity and there's still a lot of work to do. And you guys have got the chicken and the egg sort of issue, right? So you need to get the supply on, build those relationships to then get the customers and then and that sort of thing. So a really interesting one to tackle. Exciting. Now look, hopefully I can get you back on and we can have a bit more of an in-depth chat about what the plans are strategically and that sort of thing. Yeah. But what I'm doing right now is just stopping people and asking them about what their thoughts are about things that business owners should be looking out for next year. Things that might, like the top tip, like what should I be thinking about? What is the market doing? What are you seeing from your position and your unique vantage point that's happening in the industry? Do you have any thoughts or tips that you might be able to share?
So as we were, looking at our own data, as well as looking at Tourism Australia's data, as well as many our STOs or state tourism officers' data, is that one thing's very clear. We know that right now, the China market, which is our home battleground, is missing from what it was pre-COVID, because there's a lot of market that has actually returned to where it was. Whereas that we still see that the China market is nowhere near what it is.
What it was pre-COVID, yeah.
Correct, yeah, pre-COVID. And so when we're looking at the recovery year to date, is that as of August, based on TA's own inbound data, is that China is the fastest recovery market across the board. And it is the second biggest market already behind New Zealand. And it is the biggest spending market by far. And so for us, is that we're very excited about that return, because that's the buying power of that particular market is still there. And then the recovery based on the pace that we are seeing is much more substantial. It's bigger than the UK. And so from our perspective, is that as one of the biggest OTA in China, we still got a lot more to gain from that recovery.
Yeah.
So then, as I was talking about it during one of the panel sessions, is that for that market, especially the Asian market, it's very family centric, whether it be couple travel, whether it be family, traveling with older people, traveling with kids. So we believe that, that the shift or the dynamic of the traveler's demand, once the acceleration of return becomes, we're going to need more demands. We're going to need more variety in the offer that we have for accommodation.
Yeah.
So this is why, I believe short-term rental is going to benefit massively by having their product available on any platform that sells into that market. And I'd love to, get that on our platform. So that's one thing. And the second thing, I think that it's just the guest experiences are very demanding.
Yeah.
Even our hotel partners sometimes struggle to understand why that particular market, the Asian markets, are very demanding based on the requirement they have.
Yeah.
And so we do have standardization on our platform to say, photos need to be etched. And then we also have AIs in the background to try to support the user, which is the property providers in this case, what sort of content or images or information they need to present to the user. And then, of course, is that, if you're really serious about China as a market itself, as a lot of people will say, is that we also have this China-friendly certificate or China-friendly property that the hotel can try to sign up, or the property can try to be part of.
Yeah.
And then there will be a requirement that they need to fulfill. And that's something that we can also work with them about as well. So, yeah. So,
yeah, it is interesting because obviously the markets are changing, and where travelers are coming from. There's a lot of supply in the short-term rental space that's come on over the past ever since COVID, right? There was a massive undersupply because that was sort of where demand was leading, and then that's kind of pulled back a lot.
Yeah.
And now what we're saying is, get ready for the new markets that are coming in, and where the next dollars are coming from.
Yeah.
So that you're one step ahead of your competition. I think it's a really interesting one, and I think that my takeaway from it as well is, look at Tourism Australian data. Look at what's happening. Look at those numbers, and then you can start to have those options for the different demographics and those guests that are coming through. So I love it. Great.
yeah, no, absolutely. So thank you for the opportunity.
No worries. Good. I think we'll leave it at that. Otherwise, I think we could talk for another half an hour. So
Love to.
look, Kevin, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Have a good show. And I'm sure I'll see you again soon.
Absolutely. Well,
Okay.
thank you again for the opportunity, and all the best to the show.
Thank you very much.
I'll see you soon. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Cheers, mate. Julie, really good to see you. I've been running around asking people what they think some trends should be for 2026. I know that you've been traveling the world and talking to lots of people. So the industry's changing, people are changing, things are all changing. What do you think people should be thinking about for next year?
do you know what? Things are changing so bloody fast. I feel like we're almost in the Jetsons era. You've got driverless cars. You've got ChatGPT with updates every day of the week coming up with something new. I think my suggestion for anybody that's tuning in right now is to embrace the youth and hire. When you're looking at your employment, look for the youth that have got technology front of mind. You know, we don't have to deal with this all ourselves. A lot of us are really struggling, and I'm old now, but struggling to keep up. And you know, just when you think you've got AI and ChatGPT down pat, some other thing comes in. So look, embrace the youth, mentor them. Take them under your wing, teach them what we know. Like, we know we've got a lot of skills to teach them, but then also just take from them the knowledge that they're coming in with incredible things. You look at some of the tech that's coming out now. We don't have to learn it ourselves. We just need to, I guess, collaborate and work together with these people.
Yeah, I think it's now is probably more important than ever, right? Because when we think about next year, right, and what we're doing with our business and where we're going, and quite often the talk is, you know, improving your business, actually removing people from the business and getting all this efficiency. But that's all good and well, but you need people that understand the technology to be able to roll it out, that can, you know, spending the time looking at it and they can find the latest trends. And like you said, every day there's a new tool, there's a new video that comes out, there's a new thing that's absolutely amazing. So it's building the team around you that really understands where the technology is going to.
And I think, you know, we think a lot of people are talking about replacing people with technology. My mindset is I need the right people to find the right technology for me. So people are still so important.
Yeah, I think so. Couldn't agree more. Amazing. Awesome. Well, look, have a good rest of the show. And
number 5.
See you at number 5. I'll see you at Strive.
Strive or 5.
See you, everyone. All right, folks, we're back. We're asking the most important question in the conference, and we have Dan White from Canbnb, award winner.
Yeah, we were very fortunate to win a couple of awards this year.
Congratulations.
Excellence in guest experience.
Yeah.
And our person of the year in the industry, which is Sarah Clark, our operations manager.
It's a real something, right? It's a real achievement. And one of the things that I've always admired about the way that you do things, that you can get an awful lot done without you being in the business. I think you might be one of the epitomes of working on the business rather than in the business.
Yeah, we've had the business for 8 years, and I've had a full-time job. I've lived overseas for 4 of those years, and I put I delegate a lot of responsibility to the team and give them the comfort to know that they can make a mistake and they won't be punished for it. So you've got to not just delegate a responsibility, you've got to delegate the ability for them to make mistakes and learn from them.
Yeah. And then how do you keep them trained?
Well, you hire for intelligence and not experience. So the training comes through experience. And a smart person will be able to be an effective decision maker. You're faced with a problem, you have to determine the 3 options you have to solve that problem. And then the common sense part of it is selecting the right solution to solve that problem.
Yeah.
And if they don't select the solution that you would have solved, you need to have a conversation about it and ask them why. And invariably with new staff, they'll select the cheapest option because they assume that price is the most important thing for you.
Good for you as a business owner.
And it never is. It's always, how can we choose a solution that has the most lasting impact?
Yeah.
So you want to permanently solve problems. You don't want to face the same problem twice.
Yeah. That's fascinating. Look, I kind of feel that I've opened up a can of worms for another half an hour, right? We could actually go and workshop this. And folks, I think that's a good intro for us because it gives you a bit of an idea that Dan's got a unique way of thinking about things, and also is very open to being challenged. It's the way you think about things. And I think that's one of your superpowers is, you know, you'll kind of go in guns blazing, ready for a bit of a intellectual fight to try to figure out the best way forward, which is going to work for you. And then on that, what I'm doing is I'm running around and asking people about trends, what they're thinking about for next year, what's kind of, what's coming, what's important next year as opposed to any of the other years. Is there anything kind of that's on your radar?
I think that for hosts like myself, we're going to be looking more at direct bookings. we've relied on the channels, the booking channels like Airbnb, Booking.com, VRBO, Marriott, for a long time to be the marketing tool to get the guests into our properties.
Yeah.
And the software is so good now that it really facilitates us getting direct bookings. And we've been using the property management software, the PMSs, to do that for us using their pages. And now people are realizing that if you tweak a few things, you can jump from 2% direct bookings to 20% direct bookings. And that will have a real impact on your profitability. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Sure.
So I think that'll be the trend for 2026, is that evolution from relying on a PMS for your direct booking channel to building your own, and then building your own brand. So you're increasing the value of your business.
Yeah, it's an interesting one though, because myself and quite a few of my colleagues that do similar work, I mean, we always talk about Book Direct, and for me, it's all about branding, marketing, and that whole package that comes together. Because it's when we think about business, quite often it's low-hanging fruit, right? Like, what's easy? And I'm like, well, just get a good website, talk to me, and then within a few days, we can get you from 2% to 10, 20%. What I'm interested about is why for you right now is why you're saying 2026, because obviously we've been talking about it for ages, and I don't think something which is brand new, but is there any catalyst for you in your mind as to why it's really important, or anything you're seeing within the industry as to why it's important?
As a host, you're fearful of change just like anybody else, and you don't want to have a big influx of bookings and then deal with it incorrectly. So you're almost fearful to have success driven by something that you've created. So people will often, and myself included, I'm thinking, all right, I could have a direct booking site, but if I've got the wrong
ID checks and you don't
ID check, I create this huge problem for myself and break some team members, and my processes aren't ready for it. So I need to be prepared. I need to change my processes and get everything in place. And you just put off some of these big important decisions that actually have a material effect on your profitability. Because of the fear of success and the fear of what could go wrong.
Yeah, that's interesting, because that's there's lots of people that I consult with, and we talk about direct bookings, and it's really interesting because we'll talk about, that's why they come. They're like, oh, direct bookings, shiny thing, great, we'll do a new website. And then we start to unpack it and we go, okay, so what's your brand? And they go, well, brand. And they go, logo. And then you say, okay, cool. We've got a few steps to go there. And then when I start to unpack it even further, then I go, okay, so let's have a chat about your business. And I go, okay, so what channels are you on? And then they'll only name one of the OTAs. I'm like, whoa. Before you even get going into direct bookings, one of the lowest hanging fruit for you is to jump onto all the different OTAs. That could be one of those things, is that maybe never thought of it, or that you're bringing yourself a new challenge, or you could break things basically if you're going and starting to activate different things that you just don't know so much about.
Yeah, probably the biggest, one of the most difficult changes was adding Booking.com as our second channel, because we had to change all of our accounting processes, our end of month statements. They collect payments differently. You have to acquit those payments differently. So that was very, very difficult. But adding a third channel and a fourth channel was quite straightforward.
Yeah.
So anybody who's on one channel, I would recommend that they move on to a second channel, because you'll go through a lot of learning, and that'll prepare you for getting your direct booking channel. It's probably a good step to do first, like you said.
Yeah, interesting. And interesting on the direct booking side as well, with Agentic AI. So we've got AI, with the Agentic stage is basically where the robot will complete the booking process for you. It's going to go through, it's going to make some recommendations, it's going to find your pricing, and it's going to go, hey, this is what you want. You ready for me to complete the transaction? And you'll go, well, sounds right. Go for it, right? And you'll have that trust, because it'll give you all the information that you need to be able to do it. And that way you don't have to pull out your credit card. You don't have to go and click on different things and get the insurance, not the insurance. So plug in your name and all your details, and you're like, Nirvana, right? But with the Book Direct side, I think that's going to be really interesting, because it's a huge opportunity for those that make the moves the fastest to be ready for this massive change in the way that people hunt for accommodation.
Yeah, yeah. And we're seeing, I think the other side of it is we're seeing some consolidation in the industry. And if you're, as hosts, if you're interested in selling your business, you really need to think about your value. The value is tied to your brand. Your brand is tied to direct bookings. So it's all one big pie. And if you've got 20 to 50 listings and you're thinking of selling, you're going to increase the value of your business if you've got direct bookings. So
What's the multiple on that?
it depends who's buying, but the standard multiple, I think, is between 3 and 5 times EBITDA.
Yeah.
And then you add some value based on your
Brand
and region and how much of control you have over a specific region. And there's all the other factors as well.
Jeez, we've gone pretty deep for a tip. Folks, we're going to wrap that up. We're going to get Dan back on at some stage. If you want to see him, maybe he'll be at a conference near you. I'm naughty. Thank you so much. I appreciate you and your knowledge. It's really great, and congratulations once again on both those awards. And of course, to Sarah, without saying, right, the backbone behind everything that you do. So, congrats.
Thanks very much, Bart.
Thank you. All right, everybody, we are back, and we are with Mr. Sam from Rosolio. How you going?
Yeah, great. How are you? Yeah?
Fun event so far?
Yeah, it's great. There's a good buzz here.
Bit different, right?
Yeah.
Big.
Yeah, bigger.
Bigger.
Bigger is always better, right, in these kind of environments?
I think so.
Yeah.
Gets
yeah.
more people.
It's good, yeah.
Sam, running around, talking to everyone. People I think know their shit. And I thought I'd stop you because you're running a tech company, doing some cool stuff, and work with a lot of clients. So I think that gives you a real advantage in terms of being able to share some of the things that you're seeing, trends that you're thinking about, or things that your clients are looking at. If you were to give people tips or advice for 2026, what would be the number one thing that you say, hey, look at this particular thing?
Yeah, I think obviously AI is a bit of a buzzword, and my advice would be obviously to start implementing and kind of not be afraid of AI. I think what we've got on the market right now is tools to assist us to be better property managers and, run smoother operations. I think where we're going to see it kind of shift in the next year or so is it to be more predictive and it to be assisting us with things like telling us when a property is going to require maintenance rather than waiting for the issue to come and then create a maintenance task for it. So I think it will eventually take over our operations and we will just be kind of managing the AI.
Doers.
Yeah. So I think those early adopters of AI, forcing their suppliers to implement AI and, really driving that kind of innovation from their point is my advice to them, and be the early adapters of it. And then, as it evolves, it's already in their business. So it will just be easier to adapt.
Yeah. It's interesting because you've got two sides of it. A lot of people think about guest experience when they're thinking about AI. So chatbots, guest communication, and that sort of stuff. But what you're saying is the operational side. It's actually look at that's going to be something that's a lot more tangible and doable and save you a lot more headaches and stress and a lot more automation around the business.
Yeah, and if great. AI is great in the guest space already, right? Consumer facing, it's talking to guests, it's dealing with all that 24-hour support, that giving property managers a bit of time back. But AI in the operational side of things, under the hood, is going to alleviate so much work for the managers and then allow them to scale without having to increase headcount.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, you bring on 10 new properties, you're going to have to bring on another VA or another staff member.
Sure.
And that kind of scale is like unrealistic, right? It's not sustainable. So getting the software to do all the heavy lifting and really streamline that, you'll be able to run it on a really low head count. Everything will be really nice and light. And I think that's the way it will move forward. We're already seeing that in the hotel space.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing faster adoption of tech in the short-term rental space. I think
Yeah, absolutely love it. I think it's such an interesting one because the guest facing stuff is the sexy stuff, right?
Yeah.
Whilst this is not so sexy, but yet so important to look at and that sort of thing. My last question for you, Seb, you're saying, hey, look at this stuff for 2026. What does that mean in a practical sense? Like, you know, what do I do? It's like, all right, yeah, okay, I should look at the operational side, and I'd love for the technology to do that. But what am I doing next? What do I start researching now? What do I look at? Who am I talking to try to get those right solutions?
Coming to events like this, listening to podcasts like this, also looking at where your bottlenecks are in your current operations, and then doing some research around trying to solve that problem, right?
Yeah, gotcha.
So if housekeeping or maintenance is a bottleneck and is an issue, jump on ChatGPT and have a conversation with it, get information that way, or go and talk to your network. There's a lot of Facebook groups out there and stuff that you can go and chuck in questions and find out what's working, but look outside Australia.
Yeah.
We're too insular here. Not enough of us are looking outside to what they're doing in the States, what they're doing in Asia, etc. So
and Europe as well.
Europe, yeah. And so look outside of Australia. Just always, and it's funny, it's kind of like that law of attraction, right? As soon as you start thinking about, I need to get into the space, all of a sudden you're getting targeted everywhere with all the ads, so
I love it.
Just being open to it, and just being well in touch with all the community stuff that everyone's doing, like podcasts, conferences, events.
Amazing. So what we're saying is think about the operational side of the business for headcount, efficiency, and understanding those tools are going to do a lot more for you than you think that they actually are, and be predictive and kind of plug holes that you haven't even thought of.
Exactly, like what those tools are today will be completely different to what they'll be able to do in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months down the line. So they might solve a problem for you today, but those tools will... Oi! Sorry.
Okay.
You know me, I'm chaos. People call me the tornado. But what those tools will solve today will be completely different in what their ability to do in 12 months. It's just so fast moving in that space. So I think, look for some pain points that you can work on today, but just be open to it. A lot of people are like, oh, I like, being in touch with my owners directly, and it's great. But like, if you want to scale and have, a portfolio of 500, you cannot be talking to every owner direct. You can't be talking to every guest direct. You can't be checking every clean before a guest gets in there.
Yeah.
And technology will help you scale that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy the conference.
All right, folks, we're here with my good friend, Mr. Pete Smith. How are you going?
Wonderful, Bart. Having a great time. We're here at the ASTRA conference in the sunny Gold Coast. Not so sunny today, but
It's pretty hot, though.
it is a bit hot. Yeah, it's hot everywhere in Australia at the moment.
Bit humid. Oh, that's right.
How was your Vegas last week?
In Vegas, it was pretty mild.
Okay.
Actually, normally expect it to be very, very hot, but it was pretty good considering it's in the desert.
Yep.
Pete was not at VRMA last week for the first time in many years.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Well, I love that place. I love going to Verma. I think it's been 5 or 6 Vermas that I've gone to over the last 7 or 8 years. So it's something that's really like it gets in the calendar really early, and it's going to take something significant to knock it out.
It's fascinating though, because every time I go there, it's just such a big, long trip, and I don't know what to expect, but I do because I've been there. But that was my 4th one. It's fascinating how you do gain so much from it, like in terms of pulse of the industry, in terms of seeing or having that one conversation that just changes everything.
It changed my business dramatically. What we learned at Verma, and we brought back to Australia and implemented in our business, and then subsequently in other people have implemented into their businesses, was extraordinary. I mean, it's some great stuff, business-changing stuff.
Yeah.
And the contacts, the connections, it's been wonderful. Hopefully we'll get back there in Nashville next year.
Yes. Maybe you'll come.
I think I'll come. Yeah, I can't not miss Nashville. Nashville's amazing. What a town.
Okay. Can you still write off on your taxes?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, still got a couple of little villas there. We're sort of looking after those, getting a little bit of help.
Good. All right, folks. I mean, stopping people around the conference, asking them about their thoughts, their ideas for 2026, things that people should be thinking about in terms of their short-term rental businesses and things that they could do. Now, Pete's got a huge amount of experience. So what did your take?
I think, but leading into next year, there's going to be a lot of talk about AI. It's the buzz. I don't think necessarily we're seeing the instantly applicable tools. People are out there building this, building that. There's an old saying going back in IT world called garbage in, garbage out. It was one of the original sort of, and I think that applies more today than it has ever applied when it comes to AI.
I couldn't agree more.
And
couldn't agree more.
So I think
garbage in, garbage out. I haven't heard that for.
You haven't?
No one said it yet, but that's a very, very good way to define it.
Yeah. And so AI, I think, inevitably will lead to efficiency and automation. And I think that's a really important thing to have in your bag of tricks in 2026. If you've got a business that's a bit marginal, then you're going to need some help to automate that to reduce your costs.
Yeah.
If you've got a business that's in growth mode, then you're really going to need that before you add additional cost into your business.
Sure.
So I think that the drive to efficiency and automation it's always been there, and the good operators have always done that really well. I think AI is just going to give them that next level tool set to deliver that.
So what we're talking about is efficiency and automation, right?
Yeah.
And AI seems to be one of those conduits to be more efficient and to get that automation happening, right?
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what tools are going to come through. Now, one of the things that you said was garbage in, garbage out. With someone with your level of experience, been around the block a couple of times, you've been to a few firms.
Yeah.
How do we figure out what the garbage, how to avoid the garbage in?
Yeah, well, I think it's just going to take resources and effort, and I just don't think there's going to be plug and play. I don't think the plug and play is there in 2025, but I think the providers that are coming to market will naturally shake out some of that. I think that some of the people we're talking to here are starting to develop their own AI tools, but they're resourcing that. They're putting in. Somebody I spoke with just a few moments ago has got 500 of the most commonly asked questions in their business. They fed that in. They got some responses back, some automatic responses back, which were really way off the mark. So they're now going to have to go in 500 times to answer those questions, so that the model actually delivers a good outcome for them.
Learns it. Yeah, I heard about apparently one of the biggest OTAs was training the model in conjunction with humans. So the AI would answer it, but the human would also answer it.
I think that's...
And then that way, and then you can go, hey, AI got it right, AI got it wrong. And then AI goes, oh, that's the right answer. You can keep on refining it until it gets it right.
Yeah, I think
I think that's the kind of thing that's necessary for these tools to work.
Yeah, I really do.
But I think that efficiency, I think it's critical, because if you don't become more efficient, then somebody else will around you, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And so it is it's a race to the top, you know. It's a race to become that highly efficient organisation, so that you can then put your people resources where they most count, which is in front of the guest and in front of the owners.
Yeah. Good. I'm going to leave it at that.
Sure, you bet. Great. Thanks,
Thank you very much, Pete.
Always a pleasure. See you all.
So, folks, I've been walking around the show, talking to loads of people. I found you, Deepanshu, and really wanted to ask you, because you talk to so many different hosts, different owners about their businesses, finding out what's going on. What would be your number one tip or piece of advice for a short-term rental owner or manager for 2026?
I would break that down into two aspects. People who are aware of how they manage their pricing strategies. So if they're actively using any tool or anything, or people who are not using it in terms of manual.
Right.
If you are using a tool, two things are to be expected. Number one, your Christmas, New Year bookings are at a lot of higher pace than what they were last year.
Yeah.
Okay. I put that, this is a personal deduction. I put that to the rate adjustment that happened this year.
Okay.
Where the disposable income went up.
Yeah.
And that's why whenever the disposable income goes down, booking windows start to shrink as well.
Yeah.
Okay. This year, because the interest rate shrank, people's income disposable went up.
Yes.
And that's the reason people are now booking early.
Yeah.
So in July, I was seeing bookings for Christmas, New Year's, double the pace of what it was last year.
Yeah.
Same time July.
Yeah.
And so I'm telling everybody, your peaks are actually doing a lot better than what they were last year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the times around the peaks, so your say 10th to 20th of December and say 11th January onwards, people call that high season. I am asking them to recorrect that expectation to mid-season.
To be mid-season.
Yeah,
right,
so
okay.
you got to be conservative there.
Yeah.
And when I say conservative, I'm not saying that drop your prices like aggressively.
Yeah, sure.
I'm thinking on or recommending on the fact that your bookings will not flow, or at least will start big amounts in the first week of December and mid-December for the January period.
Got it.
It's exactly what happened last year, and that's what I'm
So what do we do? Do we hold firm on our rates until January, or until that December window, or are you saying that obviously hold firm until that sort of mid-Jan period, but you're saying that mid-Jan period we need to be more mindful of our pricing as well, right?
It's a yes and no answer. All right.
Thank you.
Yes, in the sense that please hold. If you're already booked for Christmas, New Year's, and say if you got your Christmas, New Year bookings February, March this year, 99% you lost money on the table.
Yeah.
Okay, because that time the occupancy was roughly 10, 15%.
Yeah,
and if you're
gotcha.
that early booked, you did not charge enough. That's point number one. Now, if that's the same case for your Januaries and mid-Decembers, it's probably the fact that you're the cheapest and you have had that booking occupancy. In cases like that, to your question, then what's the balance? Do you want that early booking to get away from the anxiety of it all?
Yeah.
Then please drop the price and go for it. But if you like the fact that you can hold and you are okay with the fact of holding, then you got to be prepared that they are going to be last minute. The occupancy percentages are very likely to meet the same percentages of last year.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay, but they will be booking last minute for non-peak times.
Yeah, got it.
All right, and this is a tough push and pull that happens with revenue managers and property managers because they're so used to, in the past, getting those long out bookings.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
And it's changed completely
And
recently.
the market's shifting so dynamically,
Yeah.
right? I talk to owners, I talk to property managers, right from 10 listings to 1,000.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, how do I do this last minute booking?
Okay,
piece?
my final question, if you don't mind, and just a quick one. So it's all good and well. You've given people some more immediate advice or let's not call it advice, because obviously people will need to do what they need to do depending on their own circumstance. But you're giving some of the things that you're seeing or some trends and some tips. What do you think, like if they wanted to look further ahead and like really do an analysis and have a think about how they should be pricing, if they're not using you, what are they doing? I mean, like obviously you got your PriceLabs tools, you got all that sort of stuff. Are you looking at what your competitors are doing, or how do you kind of figure out what you're looking at the ABS data, Australian Bureau of Statistics? How do you figure out like what you've just said without your experience?
Wow. How do I figure out this information if I did not come from this journey?
Yeah, if you know,
God.
because we can't do a market update every month. Well, we could do one every month, which would be quite
I'd look
interesting,
forward.
right?
I'd look forward.
But if they're not coming to us for that, how do they know what to do?
That's a great question. In all honesty, manually, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
Because humanly, there's only so much data you can collate and then collect and then interpret, right? And unfortunately, within that, you're rendered with a lot of biases and guesses.
Yeah.
Right. So my recommendation, if you're not going to be using a tool, is to be really aware about at least the events of your calendars, because those are the ones where you're going to really make money. And at least in those days, push beyond your own personal boundaries.
Gotcha.
If you think that your average is $200 and you're going to charge maybe $400, $450, but the event is really high in demand, push, like go ballistic. Let's go 700.
Yeah.
And see, because if you get a booking, you're like, wow, I got booked at 700.
That differential is so
Yeah,
huge.
and that $300 will be massive.
So I guess what we're saying, just a bit to finalize that, is just really make sure you take care of those peak seasons, those peak periods, and make the most out of them.
Yes.
Set high, work backwards.
And then do a bit of last minute adjustments to drop the price.
And then in terms of trends, just be careful of what people's disposable income. I think that was the biggest tip that you gave there, is watch how much people are actually spending. You can find data about that as well. Mr. Deepanshu, very nice to talk to you. Thank you very much. Safe journeys home, and we'll speak again soon.
Yes, please, my dear friend. Thank you.
Take care. All right, everyone, we are here with Mr. Closey. How's it going?
Good, thank you. Good.
We are at Here to Stay ASTRA 2025. I'm asking all the people that I think are absolutely wonderful, like yourself, what they see coming in 2026. What's the number one trend or number one thing that people should be thinking about? 2026, I think there's going to be a real shift in market dynamics. Booking windows are getting shorter, so there's a lot of last-minute stays. But we're also seeing with the constraint of the rental market, you're getting a lot of last-minute bookings that are very long as well. So somebody's booking for tomorrow who might be coming and staying for 2 weeks, which is fantastic. But it makes really interesting times for dynamic pricing in your revenue management and making sure that your properties are priced accordingly. So that's a trend that we're starting to see now that we think is going to continue into the next year.
So how do you prepare for that?
Biggest thing is you got to make sure that you're priced appropriately. So really checking your competitive set, making sure that your prices are accurate for where they are. You don't want to be too cheap because you're going to miss out, and you can have that confidence to know that those bookings are going to continue to flow in. It also means then you're not dropping your rates too much, because if you're seeing those bookings coming in, gives you the confidence that you're going to fill that occupancy.
Gotcha. All right. So keeping an eye on things, looking at your comp sets of your competitors, using software to do that. Any kind of manual stuff that people should be thinking about?
If you're not using software in 2026, you need to start ASAP. Dynamic pricing software, make sure it integrates within your PMS. You've got Beyond, you've got PriceLabs, you've got things like Room Price Genie, which is starting to make a move into some of the short-term rental spaces. All fantastic softwares. Work out what works best for you. And make sure that you're searching and checking your competitors online. If you've got multiple properties, what's the market doing in terms of pricing is the big thing.
Beautiful. All right, awesome. Thank you.
Thanking you. Bye.
Okay, everybody, we're back. What's the wonderful Ethan from Hospitable? How you going?
Great. How are you?
Good. We done 2 days of the conference so far. It's been pretty fun. Almost towards the end now. Any learnings?
Yeah, a ton. It's been an awesome event for us. We're like fully distributed and remote, so we don't actually have an office anywhere, and we don't get the chance to meet our customers very regularly.
Yeah.
So just getting that chance to meet our customers in person is always awesome, and getting away from our booth and actually getting into some of the sessions is tricky for me sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, just learning from our customers where they're at and their pain points has been really good.
How many here to stays have you guys done so far?
How many, sorry?
Here to stay conferences have you guys attended?
Third. We started in Sydney and then we were here in Brisbane last year.
And were you new to the business at that stage?
I'd probably been, for the first one 3 years ago, I'd probably been with the company for coming up on a year. So I'm coming up on 4 years with the business.
So at the time, did you feel like you knew people? Like, I want to know about that sort of journey between not knowing people to now maybe knowing people. What percentage of people do you know now in comparison to then?
That's a really good question. I had a little bit of a cheat code at the start because I was a host myself before joining the company, and I was a Hospitable customer before joining the team. But in saying that, the first industry events like Strive and ASTRA that I'd been to were really eye-opening. The very first one that I went to was VRMA in Vegas 3 years ago.
Yeah, right.
And that was just mind-blowing to see how massive the industry was.
Yeah.
I was already using a lot of the tooling, and I'm a bit of a software nerd as it is. So I was familiar with a lot of it, but in terms of knowing the people, it was I basically knew nobody within the industry. So it was an awesome opportunity to get to meet people.
Good. All right. So I'm running around. I'm asking people that are in the know, and I think you might be in the know. You might have a different angle or perspective on what's happening in the industry. What do you reckon? The 2026, if we're thinking about what people should be thinking about or leaning into or paying attention to or trends, what do you think is something that you would say, hey, this is what you got to look at?
I have to say there's two things. And the first one is a constant that I say to our customers, hosts, and property managers generally, is always make sure you're staying on top of the compliance and legislation and taxation updates and trends. Super important for any property manager or host out there to ensure that you're staying up to date. Obviously, content from yourself and ASTRA, really important for that. In terms of, if we're looking at more of a software trend, I think as AI is coming up a lot, I think Agentic AI is going to be a huge thing in 2026. We're starting to see that being used more and more frequently. And I think it's really going to be a massive transition into going another set of hands-off in people's businesses in day-to-day, being able to use that more and more in short-term rental businesses.
Give me an example of what we're talking about.
So to go to the base level, it basically allows a property manager or a host or anyone in particular, depending on what it is they're using, but an agent allows the Gen AI to be able to take actions on your behalf, to be able to operate your device and with a prompt, take a particular action. So you can think of a million different ways that you might use that in your short-term rental business. We're looking at it ourselves as to how we can best leverage that for our customers. So finding the biggest pain points where we can have the biggest impact with that. But it could be anywhere across your business. If you think of like a typical use case of a PMS, for example, at the moment, you're opening up your application on your phone or on your MacBook or whatever it is, and you're taking those actions yourself. The way that we're going to be transitioning it is that you're not actually going to need to do that. It'll be simply speaking to, hey, Hospitable, I need to message my 10 guests in Queensland, let them know there's a cyclone warning, give them the most up-to-date information, and that action will be taken for you. Or it might be an action on your calendar. You might need to block the currently available properties in Queensland because of an upcoming cyclone, and you'll be able to just give that prompt as a command via voice, and that action can be taken on your behalf.
And it's really interesting because there's a difference between workflows and an agent, and where the workflow is sort of A, B, C, D, and then it keeps it going.
Yes.
Have yes, no variables on the way through.
Yeah.
But what the agent's doing is it's actually making decisions. And in that example, the kind of decision it might make is to be able to analyze whether the properties in a certain location that might be affected by the cyclones. Might also analyze and say, hey, I've got all the mobile numbers of 4 out of 5 of them. There's one missing. So my decision making is I'll send a message to those 4, and then the one that fails, I know that I have to get back to the host to fix it, all that sort of stuff. So look at agentic AI is really important, understanding it. So my tip to back up your one is understanding what an agent means, how they work, and then keep an eye on it, because you will want to be using it because it's going to save you a lot of time and effort in your business, particularly, I would say, towards the end of next year. I reckon we're not ready yet for the start of it, but towards the end of next year, I reckon there'll be some pretty good tools.
I agree completely.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's been great. It's always good to catch up.
Cheers.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, we're back with the wonderful Dan DeWitt from Moxxi Property. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you very much.
Good to hear. We're here, day 2.
Day 2. It's
ASTRA, here to say it's busy.
It's great.
How have you found it? It's great?
Yeah, it's awesome. From everyone speaking on stage to us now just talking over a cuppa. The room, you can probably hear a bit of the background noise, but the room is buzzing, and it's awesome.
When was the first time you went to a conference for this industry?
For this industry? Well, it's relatively new in Australia, right? So I missed the first 2 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is year 3 for me now.
Okay. And how do you feel about your relationships and friendships and knowing the room from that first year to where you are right now?
Oh, look, I knew no one, obviously, first year. But now it's coming back. It's really cool to see familiar faces.
Yeah.
And really broaden the connection with other industry people that you might not have met. Like this year, we've got a lot more Kiwis over, and that's really exciting.
It's fun.
So, that opens doors into New Zealand.
Yeah.
To connect and work together. So it's awesome.
Wait until we start to get the Balinese coming over for Strive.
Oh, well.
I've already got some of that coming, so...
The Southeast Asia market. Oh, it's phenomenal.
Well, I mean, I find that we're all... it's all about building community and learning from each other, and I think that even though you might not be in the same place geographically, you're still dealing with guest experience, guest problems.
It's all the
OTA
same.
platforms are the same.
Rinse and repeat, regardless of location. Yeah.
All right, Dan, I'm roaming around the room. I'm asking people what they think the top trend or top issue or top opportunity they think they have for 2026. What do you think that would be?
Oh, that's a very good question. Look, the instant answer everyone's going to say it is AI, but I'm gonna pause there and not say AI. I'm going to say branding.
Okay.
We are currently going through a rebrand ourselves. And that whole process and that journey has been phenomenal. We knew who we were, but now we know who we are more. Okay. And we're now going to amplify that more. And obviously with the use of AI, we can amplify that. Because what I'm finding is, and we see it among our peers here, is that people are dabbling with AI. You talk about AI all the time, but no one really knows how to utilize it to its most effectiveness.
Yeah.
So where I see branding becoming a core element in everyone's business in this next, or let's just say next year alone, is how we package up our product, because we'll never beat the OTAs on the initial booking with our guests. But once we have that booking, we can then, we've got the whole journey to explore and navigate with our guests and work with them to build the relationship, build the trust. And when you build a brand, you're building trust with your guests. And hopefully the goal would be to repeat bookings, right? And book direct. So I would say, branding for your business, branding for your personal brand into 2026, I think can't be any more crucial than it is today. With the evolution of how fast AI is growing and growing, once you package up your tone of voice, your branding, your colors, your logos, your experience of your brand overall, AI is just going to boom, skyrocket and send it to the moon.
Yeah. That's really interesting, because that's one of the struggles, right, with AI, that you sound like the same as everybody else.
100%.
But what I really appreciate that you said is the brand is the entire journey, right? And you said that quite often the journey will start off with a guest on an OTA that will come to you. I mean, even if they come to your own website and book with you, really that whole branding part, yes, it does start with the website, but it really starts once that booking is made. So that first email that you send them, and then the welcome messages and everything that ties together. One thing that I'm really curious about, though, Dan, is for me, branding's always been important. And if you look at hotels, they've understood the brand is important, even more so than ever. And you've got big international conglomerates that have understood this, have loyalty programs and that sort of thing. Now, I feel that short-term rentals have really struggled to create very strong brands. There's not that many of them that you can really recognize. Like, if I was to think, what brands I know in the STR space that are recognizable, I can see their logo. Why do you think 2026 is an inflection point for brands?
Because of the speed the market is consuming knowledge, the speed the market is consuming how we travel, how we book things, how we experience the world. And if we take a step back, and irrespective of 2026, right, any smaller operator, regardless if you're in Australia, the US, New Zealand, wherever, right, the traditional space, and we are, the proof with this story is that you start out by yourself, you get Sally's listing down the road, and then Sally talks to Jim, and Jim's like, yeah, I'll come on board. And then boom, before you know, you've got 20 listings, right? And you've bought yourself a really cool job. Like, this industry is really exciting. And then you go through this evolution of, now you've got to build a team. And then you've got to figure out how to, do your cleaning ops and the rest of your admin ops. And it just gets out of hand. And then before you know it, you've got a business, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. But no one really knows who I am. And you have this heavy reliance on the OTAs.
Yeah.
And then you've got to figure out, well, what do I do now? And obviously, again, like I said earlier, with the introduction of AI, because AI is still very new and not a lot of people know how to utilize it. If you haven't packaged up who you are, what you are, and how you sell your products, the AI is not going to make it any better.
Yeah.
It's just going to do the same muddy water that you are experiencing right now. So, polishing that experience up from a brand perspective, from a tone of voice, from an experience perspective for your guests, is where you will now harness that kind of trajectory as consumer behavior changes, right? Like, all the booking platforms now are introducing AI and the personal concierge service. I was talking with Trip.com. They're really starting to bring brands on board now and curating with their AI genie, experiences that are wrapped around a corporate identity, rather than an individual. But Sobeys is 5 houses.
A listing. Yeah, fascinating. I think this is something that's really important for everyone to think about. And brand has always been important, but wrapping that around the idea of AI, because AI needs data. It needs data points about who you are, who your business is, who you're serving, who your guest avatar is, what kind of experience they're going to have is going to be crucial, which is kind of the way that we have to rethink our businesses. So I think it's a really good point, and something as well that us as a business, we have to think about as well, be it the accommodation show, be it iBooked Online, be it Strive as well, the conference. So good one. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Have a good rest of the show, and I'm sure we'll speak again soon.
100% we will. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, everybody, we are here with the wonderful, the brilliant Georgia Smith from Hunter Holidays. How are you going?
I'm going great.
We're here at the ASTRA Here to Stay Conference 2025, and I'm running around asking lots of people about their thoughts for next year, what to look out for, what they're thinking about in their business, trends, tips, that sort of thing. What do you think people should be looking out for next year in their business?
Yeah, absolutely, Bart. So for me, 2025 has seen a massive increase in the amount of AI tools, specifically in short-term rental spaces, but all sorts of spaces. So, you know, the back end of this year is really researching, doing all of the, you know, core underwork to find out what is going to make the business more efficient, but what is also going to, you know, be able to add to the human experience rather than replace it, because I think it's too easy to adopt all of the nice shiny AI tools, but really assessing what is actually going to make my business stand out with AI tagging onto that to improve it.
So, I definitely agree, but I'm going to be a bit naughty.
Yes.
It's all good and well saying, hey, people should do the research and know which AI tools to pick.
Yeah.
There's a tool called, I think it's Find the Right AI tool, or something like that. There's 45,000 different AI tools. They add around about 200 to 1,000 per day.
Yeah.
When you look at your business, when you're having to think about what you should actually put a bit of time and attention into looking at, have you got any strategies that you're implementing?
Yeah, so for me, it's understanding the scale of where things are at. So what do I actually need first? So there's a lot of tools that can do a lot of shiny things, but where in the business do I need or can I implement AI to improve efficiency, improve profitability, improve guest experience? That's sort of the core starting block that I start from, and then I work backwards from there. So in terms of doing research, it's, you know, I don't have one place where you can go and say, yeah, pick this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily go out and you know, into the realm and try and find the first of something. But I will say that I think that next year we're going to see a lot more stability in who's coming up in that.
Sure.
And if you're not using AI in the business, it's really going to, I think, leave you behind.
Yeah. So look at those prices that kind of shine through, as there's a bit of consolidation there, and then try to find your pick, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just a very small example in terms of what surprised me this year and what's coming. You know, my daughter actually started her own business. She's 10 years old. She wanted to have a market stall because she wants to be a chef and cook up a storm. And, you know, she's making $200 on a weekend at these stalls. Wow. But she said to me, Mum, I want to be able to take payment. I want to be able to have a bank account, and I want to have a website. And she utilized an AI tool to build her own little landing page website integrated with payment. And she's 10. I gave her, you know, a little bit of assistance because I knew the platform, but those types of things are coming very fast, and that even shocked me. You know, their ability to use Canva and AI and other tools. So I think we can't underestimate the influence of what's coming, but at the same time, not just doing everything, because you can waste a lot of time. I think you and I both know, up at 2 a.m. and just, you know, testing AI. So yeah, just being really focused on what will actually improve the business as the core starting point.
So how do you know what I get up till 2 a.m.?
Because I know you like me, Bart.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks, Bart.
Well, hello, everybody. We are back with the beautiful Alessio from AirKeeper. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Yourself?
Not too bad, thanks. Alessio, I've been running around the conference talking to people that are in the know, and I think that you might be in the know. You're managing quite a few properties. You've got a successful business. I'm really wondering about what you're thinking about. What are you thinking about for 2026? What advice or tip could you give to someone that's thinking about next year about what they should be focusing on?
Well, I will say, obviously, everyone has been talking about AI. However, it's more for me, people behind AI means, it's culture and training, because AI will be an amazing tool without, the people and the culture will be quite difficult managing the technology and all the integration software that we have.
Yeah.
So I would say a big focus, it's people.
So the people that are using the tools, get them trained up.
Correct. I would say it's training and culture, because are two separate subjects. One is the people and the culture, the performance, the quality to teach them about accountability. I think is a big focus of us, and as well, I think everyone is talking about how important it is, and training, and education.
Yeah. I think that's right. I think it's interesting because one of the things you identify, we said AI, right? But for me, it's not necessarily AI is part of the technology that you're using to run your business, but not having the right staff or people in place, it's kind of like that. To me, that's kind of inevitable. The AI is going to come and it's going to change our businesses.
Correct.
But not having the right structure, people, right branding, and all that kind of stuff in place for that technological change, that's where you're going to get in trouble, right? All of it happened, but you didn't have the right people, you didn't have the right training, or people that didn't want to adapt to these changes.
100%, because again, I think AI it's kind of exponentially helping a business. However, it's as well a risk, because if you don't know how to use it, it's like anything. You can have a very powerful car, and if you don't know how to drive, or you don't have the skills, well, you will not go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I believe that this is why, yes, AI is very important. However, you need the team, the structure, and the training in place to ensure that you are using the AI and the technology at full potential.
I love it. I couldn't agree more. I absolutely love it. It's something that no one's mentioned before. So good on you. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.